atmosphere can transfer to a hockey game today?
Well, I sure hope it can. Obviously, the weather's going to be a little bit different, and normally you have the college kids and the college band, but this should be a pretty good event. I mean, we're fortunate that Toronto's so close. It's an original six matchup. There's lots of hype. I've seen Maple Leaf fans all over. I've seen Red Wing fans all over. It's a spectacular place, never mind event, so it should be a great day.
Well, this is an event, but at its root, it's a game with two very important points available. How do you help your players keep perspective?
Well, I think we talk about that, but I think it's real important in life to enjoy what you're doing, but you enjoy what you're doing when you're doing it well. So attention to detail, pride in what we do. Let's go out there and compete and walk out of here with our head held high. If you do good things happen in life.
All right, finally, Mike, only one home team has won in the previous 5 Winter Classics. Yesterday, you offered up as one of the reasons for that, the revelry that surrounds New Year's, the pressures of being at home in New Year's. How did you avoid it last night?
Well, I got to tell you, I had a little hotel down the road and went and had a very nice sleep. I'm sure my family's going to make it to the game.
But you're ready.
I absolutely am. Looking forward to it. Should be a lot of fun, Scott.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate your time. All right, now to Andy Petrillo with Randy Carlisle.
Scott, thank you. Randy, there's no denying the hype around this event, from the 24/7 access to the environment itself. But how do you keep your players focused on the task at hand, which is 2 points?
Well, and that's the challenge, and in reality, they're professionals. This isn't the first time that they've had a distraction. Obviously, there's been lots of family and friends around, and that's great, but our focus has to be the 2 points that are available to us, and we're going to play a team that this is their home building. And what we've tried to do is we've tried to give our players the advice to say, hey, there is things that you can control, and the one thing that we want you to control is your effort and your level of execution, because it's very, very important. 2 points here today for our hockey club.
And the one thing we all wish we could control was the weather, and we have snow and we have wind. So what's the strategy? Does it become short shifts?
Well, short shifts, as always, and specifically when you're outdoors, you want to make sure you get everybody into the game early, and then that's what we'll try to do, make sure that everybody gets a shift in the first 5 or 6 minutes, and then you play it from there. But again, simplify. Don't try to do too much out there. Let the puck do the work for you.
Big smile on Dion's face yesterday. Relief, no doubt, with the contract. Does it help you as a coach as well, knowing Kessel, Dion, big players, especially your captain Dion, signed up? You don't even have to worry about it.
Yeah, again, that gives stability in the organization. When you have commitments made to your big guys, then that does not linger on. There's no excuses, and we've made a commitment to those players, and we feel comfortable that those players are going to be able to lead our hockey club here into the future.
It's almost over, but you do have to wear a mic during the game.
Again, here we go. The last day of HBO. Yay, yay, yay.
Very excited for that. Thanks for taking the time, Ron. Back to you.
Phil Kessel and James Van Riemsdyk attended high school in Ann Arbor, Pioneer School, while they were part of the U.S. Classic. This is the home of the Maize and Blue. So many Canadians have had the pleasure of having the time of their lives attending university here in Michigan. Of course, as Wolverines at Michigan University, we have a Bronco with us today, Kalamazoo, Western Michigan. That's Glenn Healy, and we've got a Spartan, star of Michigan State, Craig Simpson, with Jim Houston. Jim.
Well, this is fantastic down at ice level, and this is where we'll be for the Bridgestone Winter Classic. We're right at the blue line, right up against the glass, and we'll watch the game from here. The first thing I noticed when the players came on the ice to start this warm-up is how everybody's squinting.
Yeah.
It's bright, and there's a little bit of snow, so it's going to take them a while to get into this, I do believe. Maple Leafs don't have a lot of things they could change in their game, but Mike Babcock has a number of options. He's got Luke Glendening up in case he wants to play Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg together. But his biggest question is about Daniel Alfredsson. He's going to take this warm-up and he's determined to play, and probably will.
Yeah, and I think that's the key, and it's an interesting decision for Alfredsson. He missed the last game in Nashville, and Mike Babcock said distinctively to him that, don't make the decision just because of this spectacle. You heard Mike talk about absorbing all the moments in your life. This is obviously a great one for the players, but you can't jeopardize the year. You say a little bit of snow, Jim. I mean, there's an amazing amount of snow that is on this ice surface right now. The league has done an excellent job of shoveling just continuously during this whole time pre-warm-up, but already you can see the impact it has on the ice and for the pucks to be able to move in this kind of snow. I don't think this right now is playable, but I'm sure they'll try it through warm-up anyway.
Jimmy Howard, Jonathan Bernier will be the goaltenders, and right across the ice from us, between the benches, through the snowstorm, Glenn Healy.
Finally, you Frady Cats have come down to ice level.
Yeah.
Welcome. Both goaltenders using the old school pads for the game tonight. Bernier using the old school stick. But hey, the conditions are going to be the same for both teams. The one thing I look at with the Red Wings, you look at their top three defense, DeKeyser, Eriksson, and Cronwall. They've only had those three in the lineup together for 12 games. They're a banged-up group. They've had parts of the year without their top guys like Zetterberg and Datsuk. There should be some more surprises to the lineup today. They've got to get the bad habits out of their game. And for the Maple Leafs, keep it simple, especially around the front of their net. When we look back to the game a couple Saturdays ago, all the goals that Detroit scored were within 3 inches of the crease. So be tight around the front of the net. But this is a spectacle. This is an event. And I am glad to be part of this. I think what Detroit wishes, though, could they get Nick Lidstrom in the game tonight? Because
he was pretty good yesterday.
He was great yesterday.
Hey, you know what we're already seeing out here? The guys
player loves it.
They're having the smiles on the faces here right now. It's outstanding. The guys are having a blast despite the fact that there's a little bit of snow. So I don't know that in all of the years we've seen the Winter Classic that there's ever been a player that's complained about any of the events, including the one that were rained in Pittsburgh, but they're having a blast out here, Ron.
The old adage, every mile is 2 in winter, and it's going to be that here at Michigan Stadium this afternoon, Jim. There's no doubt, for all the fun. See, Paul Ranger's got that black under his eyes and all over his face. He did it yesterday. I thought it was just a joke, but he's wearing it actually today, too, on his face. Get the stripes on, looks like a Kiwi warrior here. Can't quite see it there, but, you know, they had a Winter Classic in Madison, Wisconsin a few years ago, February 2010. Jake Gardner and Brendan Smith, who will be opponents here today, were together for Wisconsin, and Brendan, who's from Toronto, actually scored twice in the game, a 3-2 victory. Here's his game-winning goal. So this is a fond reminder of a great time for Brendan Smith, and he's ringside right now.
Brendan, you're from Mimico. You grew up a Leaf fan, and you're about to play them in the biggest game ever played. How much have you been anticipating this game?
I mean, this whole year, and actually even last year, because I was supposed to go on. So it's just so exciting. Look at all the guys. They're all hyped up. They're all like little kids. And just being able to play Toronto, being a young kid in Mimico, this is amazing.
You played an outdoor game when you were with Wisconsin at Camp Randall Stadium against Michigan, but I'm not sure that the conditions there were anything close to this. You ready for this?
Yeah, I think it's amazing having a little snow. I mean, it's going to be a little bit harder to see, but it brings out that inner kid feeling, so it's amazing.
How do you get past all the hoopla and focus on the 2 important points today?
I think we'll just come out here, get used to it, get all our hoot and hollering out of us early, and then get ready for the 2 points that we have to steal tonight.
Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah, thank you.
Scott will send it back up to Elliott.
On after the game today, Team USA will announce its Olympic team, and we are expecting Jimmy Howard to be a part of it. Kevin, Jimmy Howard did not play very well in this last game, a loss to Nashville, and with Gustafsson out, this is a huge afternoon for a team that needs the points.
Well, it's certainly a huge afternoon for the Red Wings and for Jimmy Howard himself. He's made himself into an all-star in the National Hockey League, but you're right, Elliott, coming off that MCL sprain, but this is the form he needs to regain, guys. And folks, this is what he's capable of doing. We saw him last year against the Chicago Blackhawks in the playoffs on Hockey Night in Canada. He was rock solid. They need to get that type of goaltending from him. On the flip side, Jonathan Bernier will get the call for the Toronto Maple Leafs. This is a big call by head coach Randy Carlyle. Both these goalies, as we know, have been spectacular all season long. But Bernier seems like he's taking a little bit of the role as the number one guy. He's calm, he's confident, he's composed. From Montreal, he's used to playing outdoors. He's going to have his family and his fiance in attendance tonight. Look for the goalies to play a huge role in this matchup, Pete.
But you heard Jim and Craig talking about the snow in the players' eyes. How's that going to affect the goalie, and how can they make it better for themselves?
That's a great question, and only time will tell. Neither of these guys knew, especially yesterday morning in practice. Now, it all depends on which end of the rink you're in and which way the snow's blowing. For both these guys, they'll have to battle that. One thing that we were talking about off camera was maybe some of the shields, the visor shields, like you see some of the football players wear in the CFL or the NFL, but neither goalie's gone to them. Right now, all they have is the eye black, which means there'll be a lot of direct snowflakes.
One thing, by the way, in the third period, they will switch ends at the 10-minute mark so that both goaltenders from both teams will have 30 minutes each approximately of the same conditions.
I wouldn't be surprised if more players ended up using a visor today as the game went on. Going back to Jim and Craig saying the snow in the guy's eyes. That might just help shield it a little bit.
All right. The Maple Leafs in this game today, before they came here, Randy Carlyle went on a bit of a mini rant with Nazem Kadri. There have been rumors about whether or not Kadri is being traded. In the middle of all this, a big game for the Toronto Center.
It's a huge 2 points. The guy set the table earlier about the standings, and both tied at 45, and there's so many distractions to this game, and that, I think this kind of is a little bit of an advantage for Detroit because they've gone through this before, whereas Toronto hasn't. They have their own dressing room distractions, what they have to get through, and this is one guy that I'm looking for to have a good game today, or like you said, there might be more doghouse for him.
Hey, with Nazem Kadri, I think people need to just relax and exhale. We know it's Toronto. We know it's Canada. It's a hockey market. It's the original six market. But this guy has tons of hockey sense. Adam Henrique is a guy that I look to as a comparable in New Jersey, not under the same scrutiny. Allow this young player to grow. The Leafs have done a good job of being patient. I think it would be remiss of the Leafs right now to move him. It's far too early for that. Let him grow as a player.
On the Detroit side of things, I'm excited to see how guys like Pavel Datsyuk and Zetterberg, how they change their game up to deal with the weather. I think this game kind of is a little bit, another advantage to Detroit is that with the delays of the shoveling and stuff, there's a big drop-off from Datsyuk to Zetterberg to the other talent on the team. They're going to get that many more breaks in today's game. So you can almost keep going back to them nonstop because they got the commercial timeouts. They're going to get some shoveling timeouts. They're going to get a lot of ice time.
This game really, I think, guys, is going to favor their Wings from a speed perspective because the Wings aren't as fast as the Maple Leafs. They don't play as quick as the Leafs. Look for the big man, Todd Bertuzzi, former Guelph Storm, to have a big game tonight with a net front presence. On the Leafs side of this thing, they got to simplify their game. You heard Randy Carlyle talk about it. Shots from every angle with traffic in front.
The last time Detroit had played in the Winter Classic, it was a 6-4 victory over Chicago, 10 goals. I don't think, guys, we're going to see 10 goals today.
I'm taking the under on that. You, Pete?
I'm just worried about the shovelers. They've been doing wallies for the last hour to get this place ready, but they've had a short warm-up already, but there's already a bunch of snow out there. Lots of guys are kind of no stick handling. Shovel the puck forward as much as you can today.
Let's give a lot of credit to Dan Craig, too. He's from Jasper, Alberta, the Iceman. He's done a great job, him and his crew.
On the Toronto bench, Andy Petrillo with Tyler Bozak. Andy?
Tyler, hockey players are known for their routines. So for a game like today, what was the challenge in keeping your routine?
I mean, you just got to try and do the same things. Obviously, it's going to be a little different out here, but we got to practice in yesterday, and it should be fun. It looks like a good time.
First game back on Monday after a 12-game absence because of injury. Welcome back, 3 assists. How good are you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I felt good. Puck kind of followed us around that night, so it was nice. My wingers played well, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Good luck out there.
Thanks.
Andy, thanks kindly. When we come back, the first family of hockey, the Hows, and a man who won 13 Emmy Awards, called 10 Super Bowls well, as we get set for the Leafs and the Red Wings. Gordie Howe. The love of his life, of course, was his wife, Colleen. She was the one, while he was flying through the air to city in the NHL circuit, she'd pay the bills. She'd tuck the kids in at night and get them to pray for Dad. He met her at the Lucky Strike bowling alley when she would take her grandfather every week bowling. And there's Gordie and the boys. They'd go after practice, and that's how he met Colleen. So she would be with his granddad. That's how he met her. Now Gordie's grandson, Travis, Mark's son, has started a great new family tradition. He actually looks after Gordie's affairs. Travis has got a family get-together each and every holiday, and we were invited in this year. Elliot.
First of all, I wanted to welcome everyone to our first Howe/Herb Christmas dinner in our home. We're so thankful to have everyone here this evening. Not very often is it possible to get this many family members together, but thanks to the Winter Classic Alumni Showdown, we made it possible. We're here to cheer Mark on in a couple days.
Cheer Mark on! But the true center of this celebration is Mr. Hockey, the great one's favorite player. At 85, he's still got the hands, the ones that meant if he grabbed you, you weren't getting away. But to 4 children, 9 grandchildren, 4 great-grandchildren, and a large extended family, he is so much more.
I wanted to single out Gordie, or Peepa, Peepa as many of us call him, and I came up with the name of him. As the pillar of the house. Grandpa, you personify integrity and family values. We cannot learn from a better human being, and we love you and Grandma Colleen, or Honey, for everything you've instilled in all of us.
We were very lucky having him as a father. Dad was a great athlete, and he knew how to throw a great knuckleball. So I said, throw me one, I'll catch it. And I'm standing with a little mini, and this knuckleball is coming and moving all over, boom, and it popped me right here. And I'm sitting there, and after you get the water out of your eyes and being the competitive guy I am, I said, throw me another one, I'll catch it. He says, no. I said, yeah, throw me another one. He threw another one, he got me right here again. He said, that's it, you're done.
Nolan, at a young age, you got Howe tattooed on your left arm, and there's a significance to the fact that the H is a small H. What is that?
Well, from a very young age, like you said, it became very apparent to me that being a Howe was more so of an action. For my entire life growing up, they always said, oh, well, you're a Howe. And for me, it started to really gain significance as I got older. And I said, when I watched my father and I watched my grandfather and the way they interact with people and the way they are, I said, it's more than just a last name. For myself, it was a good reminder every day that it meant something very special to be a Howe.
Both him and my grandmother, Colleen, just have been, to me, amazing grandparents and role models to our entire family. And we all look up to them, and we just, everything we do, I think we hope we make them proud.
Unfortunately, this summer, it's the first time that I thought Dad might not be around much longer. We've looked at it like it's just a pleasure to have him around and to interact and meet with his grandkids, and like it's a great grandkid. Like for me, it's a great time for me to be with my 3 granddaughters. So I just try to cherish every moment I have with them.
That's why this time with great-granddaughter Ella is so precious.
We went to New Jersey this year when I was pregnant with Lana, and he spent the week with Ella, and it was just great to see it because he wanted to go in the pool with her, and he was constantly playing with her, and he's sitting there taking his teeth out and trying to scare her and joke with her and everything. So it's wonderful to watch because I got to see that when I was growing up, and now I get to watch her reaction, which is just amazing to see as well.
If there's any kids in the room, that just lights him up, and he'll gravitate right to them and grab them and strangle them and twist them over and get them in a headlock, and that's just that's how he is.
As Travis finishes his toast, Mr. Howe steps up.
I just appreciate the kindness which you folks have shown me. It's a lot like hockey when you run out of things to say, whack the bugger and sit down.
His appearances, this one at a Vancouver Giants game complete with Michael Bublé's serenade, always end in an ovation. And his family wants you to know they appreciate it.
We've seen it a million times. Dad will be with us, be having a very difficult day, having a hard time, but he has an obligation. And when he goes there, it's like a light switch goes on, and the people just make his life right now. I can't say it enough. Gordie Howe, the person, is so much greater than Gordie Howe, the hockey player ever
In 2
will be.
minutes, he can make you feel like you've been lifelong friends.
Yeah.
That's his secret. He makes you go right to ease and like you've known him forever.
Big thanks to the Howe family for inviting us in. What a special treat that was. I can remember a U.S. Thanksgiving years ago, the annual Lions game, Turkey Day game at Pontiac, Michigan. Dick Enberg was mentioning how he grew up here listening to Hockey Night in Canada. Pleased to be joined by Dick Enberg from San Diego. Dick, obviously your love of sports, of storytelling, was honed in Mount Clemens on the northern outskirts of Detroit. You talked about going out on a Saturday night to your father's Chevrolet panel truck and listening to the radio. I think the viewer would enjoy that story. Tell us about that.
Well, Ron, we couldn't get good reception indoors at our farm north of Detroit. But our panel truck, you could listen to the radio without turning on the ignition. So knowing that Hockey Night in Canada came on after the first period, I'd sneak out and try to catch the second period and listen to the great Foster Hewitt make the call. And I used to lie down in the front seat so my dad wouldn't see my silhouette and kick me back into my bedroom. And I didn't dare even wait for the third period for fear I'd run down the battery. But that was my introduction to hockey. I was 12 years of age. We'd moved from California to Michigan, and we could only pick up the broadcasts from the radio station in Sarnia across the river. It was the teaching of hockey to me, and I think Foster Hewitt today, of all the broadcasters I've ever heard in every sport, he would have to rate right at the very top.
Well, Dick, obviously things worked out well for you, but you would have loved to have been a hockey broadcaster, and you almost got your shot the year the Leafs won the Cup, 1967. How about that?
Yeah, it's a little-known fact. I was in Los Angeles, and I'd left the university. I was coaching and assistant professor at Cal State Northridge, and Gene Autry hired me at KTLA, the television station in Los Angeles, and they were carrying the Los Angeles Blades, I think about 20 games in the Western Hockey League, and I thought I did pretty well. We used to take the noon balloon to Saskatoon and for training, and my love for hockey was expressed to the Southern California audience. Well, the next year, the NHL announced that Los Angeles would have a franchise, the Kings, and I thought I'd be their announcer. But Jack Kent Cook swept down from Toronto, bought the franchise from Dan Reeves, and I was left in the cold. He made a pretty good choice, however. Jigs McDonald was the first play-by-play man of the LA Kings.
Jigs McDonald, of course, Foster Hewitt Memorial Award winner in 1990 in the Hockey Hall of Fame. That worked out as well, too. So, Dick, you go to Central Michigan and then further your education at Indiana University, and that's where you got a shot to call football games. The Hoosiers, of course, at Indiana, which brought you here to Michigan Stadium to do the Wolverines game. So, the big house. When I mention Michigan Stadium, what springs to mind?
Well, shivers. I go all the way back to my dad taking me there, and we sat in the end zone for a homecoming game against Minnesota. He was from Minnesota, loved hockey. And the gentleman who wrote Hail to the Victors, who was fragile and old, though, got in front of that great Michigan band and led them and became younger every stroke of his baton as he hailed to the victors in that big stadium. And the great football lessons learned there. And then as an Indiana announcer, of course, their football wasn't very good, but it did allow me to go to Michigan for games. And I can recall the very first time I sat in the booth next to the great Tom Harmon, number 98 for the Michigan Wolverines. It should be a great treat. I mean, Michigan and the Midwest, and of course all of Canada loves the great sport of hockey. It's nice to see the outdoor venue. Huddle up and cuddle up and have a great time tonight.
Dick, it's been a special week, and that's appropriate. Detroit needed it. It's been a tough few years. I'm sure it means a lot to you too.
Well, there's a saying that I wished I'd used in the Olympic Games in 1988 in Seoul. I didn't have a chance, but it involved Kay Yao, who was the women's coach of the Olympic basketball team. They won the gold medal, and she had been diagnosed with cancer before going to the Olympics. It was part of the pre-Olympic examination, and she made a great comment. She said, when life gives you a kick, make sure it kicks you forward. When life gives you a kick, make sure it kicks you forward. I guess that's where the great city of Detroit is. It's had a few kicks. Make sure you go forward, upward and onward, and maybe 2014 will be the start of that growth.
Honor to have you join us for this, Dick. I was thinking there's probably only two words to describe the scene here, and I'd be using your words if I used them. Oh, my. Thanks so much.
I thought you would use shoots, he scores.
The legendary Dick Enberg, 13-time Emmy Award winner. His love of words all honed here in Mount Clemens, just outside. Listen, you can feel the building already beginning to shake. You saw Tyler Bozak, Regina. Red Berenson coaches here at Michigan for 30 years. Regina. Dick Irvin, Regina. News this week, he has been inducted into the Order of Canada, and what a deserving award for a man who's meant so much to Hockey Night in Canada. This day today is all about tradition, and with Dick and his dad, a century of commitment to the game. Congratulations, Richard. Dickinson, actually, is not Richard. Dick Irvin, Order of Canada. Don Les, by the way, is just around the bend. Let's get back up to Elliot Friedman. Elliot.
Well, we went from Gordie Howe to Dick Irvin, to Dick Enberg, to Dick Irvin, and back up here. I don't feel very worthy after that trio. The one thing you can't forget about this is how important the game is to the Maple Leafs and the Red Wings. You look at the Eastern Conference standings, you look at Philadelphia charging up them, New Jersey won yesterday against Pittsburgh. This game is just huge for what these particular teams are dealing with.
No question. Let's start with this from a Toronto Maple Leafs perspective here, guys. The Toronto Maple Leafs have an opportunity to hit the reset button. They're coming off of a victory. We know how thin they've been at center ice. That's been the thing. But Tyler Bozak's back in the lineup now for the Toronto Maple Leafs. It'll be a second game back. Had 2 points last game. Peter Holland has filled in pretty well in the middle of the ice. We know they've got good goaltending, so that's been able to bolster them through this difficult time. But they need to get on their horse. Glenn Healy's been talking about it all year, guys. With the new format for the playoffs, introducing the wild card, it's a different ball game now. This is a big one for the Leafs to win. Peach?
And this is a big 2 points for Detroit because it gets really ugly for them after today. You know, it's all the festivities today, but then they go to at Dallas, at San Jose, at LA, at Anaheim, at Rangers, then LA, St. Louis, and Chicago. Those are their next couple of games coming up. So enjoy the snow. Then you're going out west for some tough hockey games. I think the secret to today's game is, besides dealing with all the snow, is who can put all these unbelievable distractions behind them the quickest. You know, from the crowd to, the coach is going to give their speech. I want you guys to do this, the X's and the O's. But then they're going to walk out to 100,000 screaming fans and pyrotechnics in the snow, and all is forgotten. Whoever can regain focus as quick as possible has the best chance in this one.
I can tell you, from all the years we've been around this great game, we've never seen anything like this. This is simply epic. History will be made. And when you think of all the legends that Ron talked about and you mentioned, we've never seen anything like this in the history of the National Hockey League. We're happy to be a part of it on Hockey Night in Canada.
Sure are. And just another note from around the league, the Carolina Hurricanes did not play Tim Gleason yesterday in their win over Montreal. He is not practicing today amid speculation that he could be traded shortly, and the Maple Leafs are one of those teams that are rumored to be in on this. So that surrounds all of this. Ron?
Elliott minus 12, snowing lightly, wind from the northwest at 15 kilometers per hour. Absolutely an oasis. Toronto, Detroit, the first day of the new year.